The question to the candidates is, do you support the concept of basing the new Sunshine Coast planning scheme on analysis of carrying capacity of the region, as was proposed in the statement of proposal for the draft scheme and as enshrined in the Noosa planning scheme? And if you do support it, how does that affect or impact on your policies in relation to the growth on the Sunshine Coast? So, candidates, if you'd like to answer this one, we're not going to do... Can I first get Debbie Blummel to respond to that question? I'll read it slowly for you. Do you support the concept of carrying capacity in the new draft town planning scheme? And if so, how does that impact on your policy position with respect to growth on the Sunshine Coast?
I do very much support the concept of carrying capacity. This council built it into the front preface section of our statement of proposals, which was one of the very early documents we did as an amalgamated council. And the way it plays out is that it brings together the environmental, topography, geographical considerations of our region. It brings together the economic potential of our region and the human capital, the community facet, and it maintains all of these in balance. Carrying capacity is breached once you go beyond that, once the balance is broken and your lifestyle and the amenity of the area ceases to be able to sustain us. It's like living on the interest of your capital rather than digging down into your capital. It's like being on a lifeboat, if you like, and trying to sustain yourself within the resources, or on a small island and living within that. Obviously, bigger areas have bigger resources, compared to population. So it's all about keeping those things in balance. With respect to the population, it has a very definite carrying capacity here on the Sunshine Coast. Beyond a certain level, we most certainly will lose the amenity. You will feel it with congestion, you'll see the environment degraded, and you'll lose touch with your community.
Okay, thank you. Michael, would you like to give a response on this question as well?
Thank you. I said in a recent media release that I don't believe Noosa's planning scheme should be messed with. To quote, I said, I have no desire to wind back the provisions of the new planning scheme in relation to Noosa. So I strongly support the concept that has been spoken about. I believe carrying capacity is about preserving our way of life. And if that's what the people of Noosa wish, you won't get any qualms from me. I'm here to undertake what you wish. Council is about representing the grassroots. And we need to be receptive to the grassroots. We need to be doing what you wish us to do. And the message I've clearly heard is that you don't want your planning scheme messed with. And so I have no intention of doing that. I will respect your wishes in relation to carrying capacity.
And following on from that, the rest of the Sunshine Coast in the same manner or a different boat?
No, I think you need to respect the wishes of people in different communities. It may be that people in other regions want different outcomes, and we need to be receptive to that. I might talk later about a new policy of mine around community engagement, where we can quickly and accurately ascertain the wishes of people to see what they're thinking on any given issue. So, things may change in different areas, but certainly up here, it's a consistent message that I've heard, and consequently, I've issued a policy which states clearly that I won't mess with that.
Mark?
Thank you very much. Look, I support the notion of, or the principle of carrying capacity. I think, however, this Noosa and District area is sitting on or adjacent to an area, being the balance of the Sunshine Coast, that is going to go through a significant period of economic growth. And that obviously will benefit Noosa, as it should. There'll be tremendous opportunities for employment in areas of endeavour that this region has not had before. Remarkable health and medical expansion, significant growth in the education sector, development in the aviation sector, creating jobs and real careers for people beyond a lot of the part-time positions that our residents deal with now. In my earlier remarks, I said there'd be 10 key indicators put in place that would largely cover the environmental indicators, the economic indicators and the social indicators as a demonstration of the health and well-being of our community. And I think that is really at the heart of this question. So I think Noosa is beautifully placed as a great lifestyle area to capitalise on a significant economic growth to the south.
Okay, and finally, Brett, would you like to...
Yeah, as I said before, I support Noosa having control of its planning scheme. So that's from day one, we will set up a task force that will be representative of people in the community and in council across the board. I've spoken to even to Bob about this some time ago, that there would be an independent chairperson on that. It could be Bob, but you guys from day one will have that. We can't have developers running the show on this, and I know there's some developers with some candidates here that have some interest. So from day one, under the new council, you will control your destiny under planning.
Okay. So we heard earlier that the height of buildings is something that we like to pay attention to. So, Kim, have you a view on what the height in Noosa should be? Or as a new candidate, you probably don't know what the maximum height is limit, but have you got a view on, as a mayor, what height limit you would think would be appropriate for Noosa? In stories might be the easiest.
I actually think that we've probably already exceeded what most people would want for a height limit in Noosa, and unfortunately if we could turn back time, I think most people would want to reduce some of the developments which has already happened. I do agree with the other candidates in full support of the current planning scheme, and that would not change, and what has to be recognised is that this is a unique area and everyone is committed to that. But I think when we're talking about capacity, every community has a critical mass where you have to have certain things in place in order to be able to bring the greatest service. In regard to height limits, I actually wouldn't like to see any further developments on the coast in this particular area, purely because you guys have actually got it right. You've got that balance between the economy, the environment and the community. But what I would like to see is more openness and more transparency with a lot of information which is given over these issues.
Okay, thank you. Jim, have you got a view in terms of what the height limit should be, or...?
Going for building, I've never studied the height requirements of the building, so I've been willing to try to keep them as they are, provided that's what the local community requires. I am somewhat perplexed though, when, whilst full compromises, we can either have one thing here, which is a compromise to something over here. And I take it that this aspect is about population type capping. So, I'm sorry, but I get perplexed in where do all our children live? You know, we want to keep everything as it is, yet our children need somewhere to live. So we've got to make the most of what we have. And I feel one way of doing that would be to foster more home-type businesses and actually encourage home-type businesses. The old term used to be the cottage industries, because with those industries and bases...
Okay, I think we're getting off the topic there, Jim. So
get carried away, sorry. Thank you very much.
just a bit of audience participation. Who knows what the maximum height limit in Noosa is, in stories? It's 3, people think. Anyone got a higher bid? 4. Who put their hands up if they think it's 4? Yeah, you'd be right. Okay, it was 6 up until 1988, I think. Bob?